Hey YouTube, we are at Middle Creek Campground, and you can see the creek behind us, and our camper and our Jeep is somewhere over here behind us, if you look in the background. Anyway, this was a really cool campground to stay at, and being right on the creek was like pretty cool. We'll give you a full campground review of the whole entire campground, and also share with you a little bit of what we did in the area. It is right next to the Appalachian Trail, which is cool. There's a bunch of waterfalls in the area also, which is really cool. There's horseback riding areas in the area that we didn't go horseback riding. I'm just saying there's all kinds of cool stuff. This is in the Jefferson National Forest, but what is unique about this is a private campground in the Jefferson National Forest. So they have full hookups, and they have a pool, which we didn't go to because it's November, and all that kind of fancy amenities right in the middle of the forest. So please like and subscribe. We'll see you guys around.
So this is the campsite that we stayed in, and I think it was campsite 26 if I remember right. It's a back-in site right on the creek, and there's quite a few seasonal people around us. You'll see quite a few like wooden structures that they've built up like next to their camper that are these like cool kind of like awnings that you can hang out in. The creek was so cool here, and it seemed like there was different types of fire pits in the area. We had, I think, the smallest fire pit out of all the different ones that I saw. I think they're in the process of like upgrading them or something. So behind us up there is the playground and the pool. I don't really have that much pool footage just because it's the middle of November. They do have all these kind of cool bridges that go over the creek, and that is one of the restrooms there, and you can see the two seasonal sites. So we're going to do our little driving tour, and then when we get done with the driving tour, we will show off some of the different things in the area. This is one of the smaller campgrounds that we've stayed in. One of the really cool things is it's right in the middle of the Jefferson National Forest. Like, that is probably like the coolest thing about this. And it is a private campground that has like all the amenities, meaning they have like a full bathhouse, they have a pool, they have like playground, they have full hookups, they have the ability to handle very large rigs. So the ones on the left that you can see that look like their back ends are actually pull-throughs. That gravel road that kind of goes through all the sites, you could pull down and then like turn into your site, so to speak. The same goes for these. There are some sites that are only back end. So there's a little basketball court they have there. And when we were here, it was November, and I want to say it was like maybe a Friday or something. No, it was on a weekend. We were here on a weekend. But it was kind of like beyond the normal camping season. That's a store there. I don't think I actually went in the store, believe it or not, so I don't really know what's in the store. But we stayed on the left side. I'm just going to drive up here and show you the right side. The campground itself is not really like a traditional layout of a campground. It's more like a national park layout. It's very kind of natural, and they built the campsites around the nature, basically. They you know, instead of knocking down trees and like leveling it out and having a big kind of parking lot of RVs, instead what they did is they utilized like what they had. And you can see all the electric hookups. I do not know if this is like a tent only area that we're in. It looks kind of like a tent only area. I don't think I'd want to take a camper back here because, like, you know, it's one way in and you have to kind of back out. So most likely I would kind of guess that probably that little area there is most likely tent only, or that's kind of what I would recommend. That road there you see in front of us that goes above the building is what takes you up to the pool. And like I was saying, this is in the middle of the Jefferson National Forest, so you have all the benefits of the forest, which is kind of cool, and it is way off the beaten path, so you don't hear like any kind of highway noise or city noise or any of that kind of stuff, because you truly are in the middle of a national park. So this person in front of us is a seasonal, you can tell, and they've been here like all season. So, you know, maybe at some point you can camp there if the person gives up the seasonal site, I don't know. But the site on the left of them is available. There's a very nice long site. I mean, you could get a huge fifth wheel in there, and these are the upgraded fire pits. I think that is what we're getting up to, where you can see they're explaining to us that one of the local high schools, I think, did a project or something to make them, and they're like kind of fancy. So these are all sites that you can get, and you can see these are very, awesomely large sites. I think if I heard the number right on the side, 75. So we're around site 75, 76, 77 area. And they have these street lights everywhere. You can see there's a street light there for safety purposes and stuff. So we went up here. I saw a bathhouse up here when we got up here, but I didn't really see what looked like finished campsites. So I couldn't really tell, and I should have, I guess, looked at a map maybe to determine if this was like an expansion to the campground that they were doing, or if this was something that they were revamping, possibly. I did see picnic tables everywhere, so maybe it's more likely that they're revamping this area of the campground. But you can see there is a established restroom there, and then it's all graded out and stuff. And there's somebody up here like letting the dog run around and everything. But, that's totally cool to kind of go away from everybody to do that. And you can see it looks like they're doing maybe some maintenance or something, because this is during like the off cycle. But there's this area up here also for camping. But like I said, we didn't stay up here. So I'm going to speed up the video so you don't have to spend as much time like rewatching the same kind of area. So basically we just made a turn. We are headed back down to the rest of the campground so you can see the other areas of the campground. The red truck, I believe, is the owner, or one of the owners of the campground. We had a nice little chat. Like, he was really nice, and I think they said that they had owned the campground for like 10 or 15 years or something. It was some very long length of time. So it seems like it's like a well put together campground that they are maintaining. So on the right, that was like what I thought looked like a tent loop. They have propane here, obviously. You can see the propane right there. So I'm going to slow down again, so then we're back in real time. And the entrance to the campground, like I was saying, is in front of us. The big green area on our left is a hill that has like a playground and a pool. And now we're going to go across the bridge. There are quite a few seasonal people on this side, you can see. So the structure that you see in front of us next to the camper, you see quite a few of those. They're these wooden structures that look like aluminum roofing, and they look really nice. I kind of wish I had one at my seasonal site, to say the truth. It's just like a patio type arrangement. But the ones in front of us obviously are not seasonal ones, because like they're just kind of open. Maybe that one that they're the boarding that you see around the camper, that's to winterize it, so then they can camp in it like in the middle of winter with snow, and like it won't be cold or whatever, and their pipes won't freeze. So anyway, this loop right here is mostly a seasonal loop. However, there are some spots, like the couple on the left that you can see, that there's no seasonal camper there, so you can get them. And everybody here was really, really friendly. I could not believe how friendly and how down to earth all the people were here. It had just a really good vibe. There were not that many kids. There were a couple kids, but there were not a lot of kids here when we were here. But like I was saying, we kind of came during off season, because most of the time people don't go camping in November. Usually, it's like Labor Day, Memorial Day, like when the pools are open, or when usually like most people are camping. And then outside of that, it's not so much camping unless you're kind of like a diehard. We were on our way to North Carolina, so we needed somewhere to stop off at, and this was the perfect location for us. And you're gonna get to see shortly some of the stuff. So that's our camper on the right hand side next to the white truck. Right next to this green-ish looking Class C that I'm gonna park right in front of. So anyway, how cool is it to wake up with this like awesome creek like right in your front porch? Like, that is just the coolest thing in the world. This is kind of like the perspective that we have. And we had breakfast and everything. You can see I think it was like bacon and eggs or something like that, or maybe bacon and pancakes, and the bacon, of course, even got the Corgi going. And so anyway, the best part is you're in the Jefferson National Forest. Hey YouTube, we are in the Jefferson National Forest, and I ran into this forestry sign that I'm going to share with you that has a map of the area. So this is a map. Maybe it's a little bit hard to see, but this is Interstate 81. This is the Blue Ridge Parkway. This is Appalachian Trail, and the campground is somewhere in here. It's not marked on this map because it's not an official national park map or national park campground. It's a private campground that is in the national park.
But as you can see, it's like kind of sandwiched, like where you have the Appalachian Trail, you have horse trails, you have the Blue Ridge Parkway, which turns into Skyline Drive. Very, very scenic route if you like driving and looking at mountains and looking at like scenic views. It goes from the Great Smoky Mountains all the way to Northern Virginia, I think almost to Maryland. It's like really, really, really long. That's 2-3 states. That's long, right? Appalachian Trail is even longer. Appalachian Trail, I believe, goes from New York all the way to the Great Smoky Mountains, Tennessee, thousands of miles, like very, very huge. Somebody in the comments below can correct me and tell me the exact amount of length, but it's humongous place. And I wanted to just share with you the sign and the map. So please enjoy the campground review, and we will see you around.
So we're going to drive around a little bit and show you some of the different areas and show you what we did on that map.
Hi YouTube, we are out here on the Appalachian Trail, just taking a short hike, looking at some waterfalls along the creek, and just enjoying a beautiful Saturday afternoon. Please like and subscribe.
Thank you.
So this trail that we're on actually leads to this large waterfall. We did not hike that far, mainly because we weren't really prepared to hike that far. You can tell like we don't have hiking boots on. I think I even had sandals on right now. And obviously the Corgi is trying to pull a little bit. We can't really, she doesn't do that so much with me. So we did find these primitive campsites. This is definitely, you know, tent only, obviously. No motorized vehicles back here, or even bicycles, and it also said no horses, believe it or not. But it was kind of cool to find some primitive campsites. Obviously, you know, people on the Appalachian Trail, they have to sleep somewhere, so you're going to probably find quite a few primitive campsites along the way. And I don't, you know, people have been doing this forever, so I don't know how many people have stayed here before, but it's just kind of cool to find these little, you know, hidden gems or treasures. So we didn't encounter that many people out here. We did encounter a few. Most of the people that I saw out here were hikers. They had hiking boots on, they had water with them. Obviously we don't have any water or hiking boots on. And they had frame packs on, you know, the big backpacks with like the tent and the sleeping bag and all that kind of stuff. And they were hiking down this, and we were just like kind of on the edge of it. So they probably, you know, laughed at us a little bit, but that's fine. The trees kind of seem like they went on forever. We were out here in late fall, like I was saying, late November time period. So a lot of the trees had already changed color. If we were here maybe a week or two earlier, like say early November, probably all the leaves would have been on the trees and they would have been very colorful. But you know, this is when we're here, so, you know, plan accordingly, of course. The bridges and all the waterfalls were just like amazing, and it was just so cool, even in the campground, just having like the water running like right next to the camper. I mean, you just look out the window, or you know, you walk out and like there's water right there. That's just like so like cool to have a running you know, creek next to your camper, and then having access to all this stuff in the area. So this was another place that we stopped by and we explored. So basically we were driving around and just like checking out a bunch of different cool things. Obviously, you know, people who hike to do all this. And what do you know, like another bridge and another waterfall, or at least another creek. There is a waterfall coming up that is humongous. And there will be a map shortly to show you like exactly like where this is, like if you're wondering. And this is literally, I want to say it's like 5 minutes from where we were camping at, like with a trailer. So just so amazing that, you know, you could have a fifth wheel or a gigantic, you know, 40-foot Class A, and you can camp like in the forest with, you know, your humongous rig, and, you know, stay with full hookups and then just go explore. So this, obviously there's like some steps here, and there's like a really old like picnic area, and so here comes a map. Glenwood Ranger District, if you want to look on a forestry map to see where we are. And then the arrow, you are here. So like that's where I am. And I don't know where that is really exactly. It's off 81 near the Appalachian Parkway and Appalachian Trail and Blue Ridge Parkway where they cross, just right outside of the campground. So the whole time we were in the Jeep, obviously, traveling around. There are some like forestry roads out here. There was not like any like, you know, rock crawling or anything like that in this area that I was aware of. This was another amazing waterfall that we ran into. So after our day exploring around the Jefferson National Forest, I started a fire, as you can see, and we got out some alcohol and just enjoyed the evening watching the sunset next to the creek at our campsite. If you have any questions, please put them below in the comments. I am pretty quick with trying to respond to them. And thank you. Please like and subscribe. Hopefully this helps you out with selecting campgrounds.